Aries, Aries Spears, hip hop goats, including Big Pun, nigga, DMX. Okay.
Your favorites, you cite as your favorite rappers: Biggie, Jay Z, Nas, Jadakiss, Eminem, Rakim, KRS One, Big Daddy Kane, Big L, and Big Pun. Now, I want to say those same names individually, and I just want to let you riff off of just whatever's on your mind about those individual rappers. Is that cool?
I'm about the high seat.
Okay. Biggie, the Notorious B.I.G.
In the top five. Top five.
Jay Z.
In the top five. Probably him and Nas are my top two.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with that. What's next? Nas.
You know, let me just give you my top five: Jay Z, Nas, Biggie, Jadakiss, and I'd say Eminem. Cause listen, man, I'm an East Coast dude. I'm a New York dude, and like Hov say, New York, home of the spitters. I don't think there's no denying it when it comes to hip hop. And I know people will say I'm biased because I'm New York, but honestly, when it comes to hip hop, and when lyrics matter, those are some of the top MCs in the game.
One on my list probably be I don't know, five. Damn. I don't know if I can think of five right now. Nas, Big L, MF Doom, Ghostface, like Jizza. Probably have to have a top 10. There's a lot of greats. There's a lot.
Wordplay, metaphors, punchlines, the complexity of their rhyme schemes. I don't know anybody that can out-rap them. So, if you can go ahead with the list, but
hey, I'm with
Jay-Z, Nas, yeah.
I put Genius
over
you
gave me your top
Jay-Z.
five, so I'm going to go Rakim.
Oh, I often struggle with that fifth spot, honestly, between Rakim and Eminem. Yeah, I mean, Rakim was so ahead of his time, and so like when everybody else had that rap style and cadence of like a Curtis Blow.
Gotta have Rakim like, somewhere.
Rakim's flow was more like a machine gun.
Machine gun, yeah. Machine gun. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm with you. I'm from Oklahoma, but and like I said, I'm a little younger than you, but I grew up. East Coast was still dominant. I don't know where you are with it, but I'm a Shiny Suit, Mace, Puff Daddy, the Lots with Jadakiss, in there. I'm
talking about 97.
Because I mean, that's when hip hop made its first billion. Directly after Biggie died and Tupac died. Nas Hate Me Now era. It was still popping. So I'm with.
Yeah, that's why they call it the golden era. That era was just like everything you said, the explosion of the genre. In terms of its success, money flowing, fame, popularity, notoriety. It exploded by then.
Oh yeah. There was nothing like going into a store, a CD store, and just looking at all the releases. Yep. They're just all classics in there. Raekwon, Ghostface. Now, any given, what was that? What was Tuesdays back in the day?
Yeah, that was something. Going in, what was it? Whether Sam Goody or Music World or Five Records or The Wall or Scotty Record, whatever the record store was. I remember going to school, after school, early 2000s, people still, buying CDs back then. 50 it just came out. And I was like, I'll get him after school, going to college. Walked up in that store, sold out. It was gone. And went the other place, sold out. You know, it was something. Because I'm in the '90s, you can really when you was a kid, you couldn't really buy CDs or cassette tape. The only thing you had was really was mixtapes, so you couldn't get all that mess. Even the cassette tapes was like some cassette tapes was like $15, so it was something.
Right,
I miss walking in that CD store.
Yeah, it was nothing like that. But yeah, I get goosebumps when you talk about that, man. I didn't be like, okay, yeah, that's my place. KRS-One.
One of the architects. I don't think hip hop would be what it is without KRS-One. He's truly one of the architects, and he's such a thinker and a philosopher, and that comes through in when he rhymes.
Oh yeah. Teacher. Big Daddy Kane.
Oh, that's my dude right there. It's funny. I did a comedian Russell Peters podcast, and the day I did it, Kane was one of the guests, and I had kind of bumped into Kane before in Phoenix, and kind of like real quick dapped him up, whatever. But I really got a chance to chop it up with him, and he's such a fan of mine, and I told him I grew up on him. To this day, I remember being in the homeroom when we would all be lined out, all the kids outside before the bell rang and they officially start school. And me and my boys had it memorized. I'm the BIGDDYKE, good plenty. So we had that whole run memorized.
Yeah. Dude. And would you say the most?
That's how it was with Wu-Tang came out. You had back then, how I got cassette tapes and CDs, you had to go to they had this company called Columbia House and BMG. I don't know about ordering from that. I don't know how many times, and I didn't think it was really. Look, if I talk about this in another video, I didn't think them CDs was gonna show up to the house after weeks and weeks of waiting. Next thing you know, a big ass box sitting on the porch. Know about that? It was Christmas. Ooh, it was like Christmas. But yeah, I remember in the school they'd be singing Method Man and the Mystery of Chess Boxing, Rough Like Timberland. Where I remember they used to say all the time. They used to sing that. The Method Man's album came out. Oh boy. Again, couldn't have the cassette or the CD back then. Trying to catch it off the radio, always catching it in the damn middle. All about having a minute and a half, 2 minutes of the song. That way you record it anyway. Damn.
Important flows in terms of, I would say, 80s into the 90s. Would you say that Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, and Nas? Would you say those are the most important? Like,
there was three very extreme heavy hitters. Them was the dudes where I don't think too many people wanted to get on the mic and either follow them or back.
Do this every morning to clear stuck mucus in the lungs and breathe easy all day long. Short or weak breathing is easy to blame on the lungs.
Or battle.
Right. Because Jay, I mean, obviously his debut was in '96, but I wouldn't say maybe in the region of New York, but I wouldn't say his flow just impacted immediately right out of the gate in '96. What would you say about that?
I think he summed it up when he said, "I'm not a businessman. I'm a business man."
Yeah.
He's a brand now.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, how much proof do you need further than that? His impact on the game.
Yeah, I would say probably around 97, 98, and he started doing a lot of records in the South. Cause I always say, man, a lot of people say, first of all, I'm from.
I know it's a what if, but Big, of course, Big Pac and Big L was still here. With Jay, be where he's at right now. Somebody comment, because just thinking about that. And then in the beginning, they said, "Oh, you biting his lyrics, and all that kind of stuff." So, yeah. Because somebody asked about some song, and they was like, "Oh yeah, that's Jay-Z." He's like, "No, that's Biggie." I was like, "Oh, they got caught." He's like, "That was lyrics from Yeah, big. The person, I think it was a younger dude, and he didn't know. So I was like, see what I mean?
Oklahoma. So I'll be yelling at the screen when people are like, "We didn't listen to Jay-Z in the South. Jay-Z is my favorite rapper. Jay, Nas, and Pac. Those are my favorite rappers. I'm from Oklahoma. Jay was the only rapper who was on the Southern songs. Juvenile, High Remix. I mean, Big Pit. I mean, the early Timberland stuff. Even though that's what Virginia, it sounds like Southern beats. Kind of. The early Timberland stuff. And Jay-Z was on those beats. That's what we were listening to. So we listened to Jay-Z, Pimp C, and Bun B. He was on the songs with them. If we were listening to anybody in the South, it was Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? So
the cool thing is everybody finally got their turn. But prior to everybody getting their turn, let's not get it confused. Hip hop and rap was born in the Bronx. It was birthed in New York. New York started it. New York was the first to put hip hop and rap on the map. Then eventually the West Coast did their thing. Snoop, Ice Cube, NWA, they helped put rap on the map. And then the South did their thing. Jeezy, Lil Wayne, like you said, Ghetto Boys, all them, the South put their mark on hip hop. So, whether it started in the East Coast, eventually the West Coast made a name for itself, the South made a name for itself. Now even the Garbage and the Gremlins are putting in their stamp on hip hop. All these little yachties and little whatevers, these garbage dudes, they hip hop garbage is getting its turn.
Garbage.
Oh yeah. And
they don't need a turn. They be thrown in the garbage. Like Chef say, it's garbage, it's garbage, it's garbage. What are you doing with this kind of music? You're gonna kill people. It's garbage. It's terrible. Oh, it have you raised in hell because it stinks. Like Rocky said in that movie. I said, it stinks. The whole place stinks. He said it stinks.
Black folks fighting for our things. I always talk to people, and I know you got Eminem on your GOAT list, and I don't discredit Eminem, but I always explain to people there was a time in rap music where black lyricists were considered gibberish to white folks. We can't understand that. That's too lyrical. All of a sudden, when Eminem came around, see, black rappers had to dumb down their style when they were lyricists in order to sell to the masses. All of a sudden, when Eminem came out, they could understand it clearly, right? And I always tell people that's why a lot of people don't know that there are black rappers who have the Eminem skill set, because black rappers had to dumb down. Eminem was the only one that the mass America would like. Everybody else had to kind of play up to the stereotype, and I think that's where you do get the South, and the Lils, as you call them, is the black people having to dumb down. I don't think that in terms of the spitters, like the New York spitters, the East Coast spitters, the spitters everywhere, I don't think they fight for rap enough. What would you say to that?
I just think that the marketplace, the marketplace is picking the bottom of the barrel because that's the most sellable. And listen, as a proud old head, I get told often that there are actually hip hop artists out there that really could spit via obviously J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Benny the Butcher, but those guys, Dave East,
but see, the J. Cole and what's his name, Lamar. That's a lot of people's go-to. What about Sky Zoo? What about Bishop Nehru? What about Afro? What about what's his name? Chris Rivers. I think he changed his name from Pun Jr. Yeah. But it's like those guys get either forgotten about or left in the cold or something. I'm like, damn. I like Sky Zoo more than I like I'll do. I only heard a couple of these dudes' songs. I know some people even throw Drake in there. I don't fool with him. So, Sky Zoo, Naru, Afro, River, they're all better than him combined. So I'm sorry. And then some people probably don't know who the hell I'm talking about because they don't listen to like I guess you call them underground or independent or whatever. So you probably don't know who the hell I'm talking about. But I'm just saying, it's my opinion.
You got to go out and find those guys. Whereas in my era, in the 90s and early 2000s, you didn't have to search for anybody. They were there.
The searching thing.
You know, now it's the opposite. You got to search for the quality rap because the garbage rap is so much at the forefront.
Oh, man.
And I just think that the landscape has changed in terms of
Spears ain't lying.
And what the marketplace wants to push as far as their agenda. Because there's still some dope MCs out there. It's just the playing field has changed. But you know, going back to the Eminem thing, you know, Eminem was the first white dude to really bring it to the forefront in a major way. You still had white dudes back in the day who could spit their ass off, but before Eminem, there was the Beastie Boys. Now, they felt more like a rock thing than a true hip-hop thing, but if you want to talk strictly hip-hop, you know, MC Search was a beast. You know,
third base,
yeah.
MC Search was.
If you had Search, and then you had who else? House of Pain, and I'm forgetting somebody. Milkbone, and then in the late '90s or 2000s you had LPs, and that's another thing about ignoring and forgetting about folks. I always like LP more than I like Eminem. Like I know Eminem songs, I wasn't that big Eminem guy. I just wasn't. Listen to LP and what's the other dude's name? A$AP Rock. Say this again, not A$AP Rocky, A$AP Rock. People are again, they probably think I'm talking about A$AP Rocky. Like I'm not talking about him. I've heard of him, but I'm not talking about that. So yeah, but there's been a lot of different over the years, you know, in and out, and some last, some don't. But yeah, I was just LP. In that first album, my boy was telling me, I guess he knew what I liked or didn't like. He's like, you probably won't. You know, this is different, so you may not get in it. But it took a while. But yeah, I got into it. Probably I listened to it a couple of times. But yeah, it you know, it was different. But I got into it.
Beast. But the landscape back then wasn't what it is now. So you know, it's almost like if you look at it in a basketball sense, the baddest white boy to ever play the game, people will tell you easily, hands down, was Larry Bird. But before Larry Bird, it was Pete Maravich. So you had some white boys in the game that was, you know, respectable.
Jordan had his hands full with Bird, boy.
You know, maybe it's a timing thing. At that particular time, the emphasis wasn't able to be on a white guy the way it was in the 80s when Magic and Bird saved the league. So, you know, MC Search was a bad white dude. But the landscape and the timing just wasn't such that I don't think hip-hop was really, really ready to embrace a white dude on a major level until Eminem came with the skill set that he came with.
I got you. I like that. I like that response. You know, I like to liken rap today in terms of the majority of rap. I like to liken it to, you remember in the early 2000s, like it would be a good rapper, like let's say a Fabulous. He's a spitter, but there would be some album filler on his albums, which wouldn't allow the album to be a total classic. I would say that the majority of rap today, the hot songs sound like album filler of the early 2000s. What would you say to that?
I don't know. I mean, you know, listen, I'm so out of touch with that part of hip hop today because I'm 48.
Oh man,
hi everyone.
I'm trying to hear what he's saying now.
Barton here at Sandy Hook Promise. On December 14th, 2012.
And, you know, from the era I come from, you know, most of my heroes don't even, you know, they ain't even in the game like that no more. You know, they've all turned into actors and doing movies and TV shows. They don't put out albums.
Yeah, the legends ain't really messing with it no more.
Yeah, man, I just, you know, it feels like today is more about, and this is why I'm saying I'm out of touch because I could be wrong, but it feels like today is about, you know, just a hot song. You know, not necessarily trying to make a hot album, just a hot song for streams. You know, you might like hot singles. Back in the day, it was before singles became, being able to purchase singles became a thing. It was about your album. You know, it was about the completion of your work.
Yeah, one song wasn't doing
If
it.
you came out with an album, 20 songs on it.
That is
The
weird.
more songs you had that were hits, the better the album. Whereas nowadays, nobody really cares about a whole album. What's your hot single? What's your one song?
Nothing like opening the Source magazine and reading the album reviews back in the day. You know, it just saying a classic, 5 mics, crazy.
Yeah.
But getting back, what do you think about Big L?
There you
Oh,
go.
Big L was a monster. It's unfortunate
Who?
his life was cut short.
He's a beast.
Same thing with Biggie, because it would have been interesting to see what they would have been able to do with the art form. 5-10 years past when after they was taken out. Whenever I say Biggie in my top 5, people always cut that short by going, man, he only had 2 albums. It's like, okay, well, you saw what he did in those 2 albums. So
He's still serious.
Exactly.
I hate that. I agree with
him.
him.
Only gonna go forward.
Exactly. People try to lessen the impact of real time as it gets further and further away, but that should be what you can point to, because how many rappers impact just right away, and it's a legendary flow to the point that he can die after his first album and he's already a legend. How many rappers get to do that? And obviously his second album, it's a real second album, but it came out after he passed away. But how many rappers die on their first album and it impacted while they were alive? That speaks volumes. That doesn't take anything away from me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, man, you go to his second album, Life After Death, all you got to do, I'm concerned, is just play Niggas Bleed.
Yeah.
Niggas Bleed, you don't need to sell me on nothing else. The way he breaks that story down, that melody, and I always say this whenever I bring that up, that it felt like that he was actually vividly painting a picture from like a Martin Scorsese film. Like, I mean, between the melody and the breakdown of that story from beginning to end, I don't need nothing else. You sold me. I know it. Oh
yeah. That whole album was cinema to me, man. I just saw a list this morning, like as I was preparing for your interview, and it was on a blog. I can't remember the blog, but they took a fan voting, and basically All Eyes on Me won. And I'm a huge Tupac fan, but All Eyes on Me for me was just hit songs. It really didn't have thinking into the actual album itself, man. That Life After Death album, that was like you said, that was a movie.
Yeah, and people will say to me, yo man, how come Pac ain't in your top 5? Listen, all due respect, Pac was a monster. But to me, and I always say this, Pac to me was more about energy and feel than to me a lyricist. I never thought he was a great.
I got into him later. That's another thing.
Punchline.
I got into Pac a lot later.
Again, Jay-Z, Nas, Jadakiss, lyrical ability. Those dudes were beasts. Pac, to me, you felt his energy, you felt his passion, you felt his soul. When he talked about Dear Mama, it made you want to hug and kiss your mama. If the nigga said tear the club up, it made you want to tear the club up. When he talked about Brenda's having a baby, you felt his passion. So I don't put him in my top 5 when you talk about lyrical ability, because I never thought he was the best lyricist. Great storyteller, great energy, great fire and passion, but not lyrical ability. DMX, I put DMX almost in that same vein. When X did his thing, who better to listen to before a fight or before you hit the field in football than an X track? It makes you want to go to war. But that's fire, that's passion, that's energy, not necessarily lyrical ability.